What's up, guys? This is Weiss Schwarz Pauper here, and today I'm going to be bringing you a new kind of video. The last two have been deck profiles, so for my third video, I'm going to be doing a video on deck building. Now, this is not basic deck building. This is more, how do I go from my standard basic build that, as a new player I started it as, and upgrade it so that it is more of a top-tier build. So, I'm right here, what you see is what, as a player, I started with my blue-red build. It was extremely basic, it was effective, but there were clearly flaws with the build. And that was because I was a new player when I started with this build, because this was the original deck that I went to my first locals with. Well, give or take a few cards. But this was what I was attempting to build. This was the build that I was going for. And then, over time, as I tested and I figured out cards in the set and all this stuff, I realized that there were certain cards that I should run and certain cards that I shouldn't run. Obviously, there are in every game. So, here, I'm going to be taking you through my process of upgrading my Bakemonogatari deck to what it currently is today. So, let's just get started. So, the first thing I did was I built this deck. Not, like I said, not card for card, but, like, I would proxy when I wasn't in a tournament, and when I was in a tournament, I would run different cards, but for the most part, this is what I was attempting to do, and this is what I proxied. So, I watched a video from a guy named Kuun, and he gave out this basic deck build, 16, 10, 10, 6. That was the ratios for all the levels. It's a good ratio, and so that was how I built my first deck. Is by following his... Is by following his ratios. So, I tested, and after a while I realized I really liked healing. I thought it was a really good mechanic, and I wanted to do more of it. So I looked at my set, and I figured out, okay, here's a blue healer that I like. So I looked at my cards. Obviously, I had 4 healers. I had 2 level 3 assists, but I didn't want to drop either because I thought they were effective. So I decided, I'll drop them from my level 2, because that's really expensive, and because that's not nearly as important as other cards. So what I did was I took 2 copies of... Sorry, trying to find it. I took 2 copies of the, this Atagi, and 2 copies of this Melee, and put them into my level 3. Thus, changing my ratios, but my level 2, I realized, wasn't as important as my level 3, which was the game. So I put in 3 copies of that. And then I realized, oh, crap. That means my climaxes are all messed up, because I need to run different cards. So I took out 2 of my gates to accommodate for that Nadeko strategy, and replaced them with 2 books. And I still ran 2 gates. So that's what happened with there. So I played, and I played, and I played, and I upgraded, and eventually I realized, there's a change in this deck, but I still like this combo. I'm going to drop the beater, because I don't need the beater. I already have a beater in this, and I have a big level 3 game that comes out at level 2. So I got rid of that beater and replaced it with 2 copies of this Nadeko change. So now I could bring out my Nadeko at level 2. That was an upgrade. Changes are almost always an upgrade. Changes are really important in this game. So that was it. But I still had 2 copies of this Atagi. So I was looking through. And as I played, I realized, holy crap, this card is super good. Like, it is really, really fantastic. I'm up, and I want to run more of it. So what I did first was I dropped 2 copies of the Mei. I quickly realized that was a mistake. I need the Mei because it's big. And that's important sometimes, especially for Bake, because it runs a weaker, technically level 3 game. So, what do I drop if I want to run more of this, because this card's so effective and I want it to be consistent? I realized this card is good, but it's not cost-effective. Its effect does not match its cost. So I decided, I'll drop this for a free card so that my level 3 game is easier to set up. And thus, my level 2 game became what it is today. And obviously my level 3 game is what it is today at this point. And then, my level 1 game got the ratio it's at, which is 12. 4 copies of 3 different cards. Still running the lovers, obviously. Now I've got 6 backups total, but 4 in the level 1. And I got that beater over there. Beaters are always nice. And at that point, I also decided, I don't need 2 copies of the gate anymore, because I dropped its combo. So I got rid of the gate, and decided to make this combo more consistent. And it worked, because now I can change really often, and then do the effect and set up my healing really often, because I run 4 and 4, which is super consistent. I do not suggest running 3 combos. Not because 3 combos isn't good, 3 combos is fine. But you want consistency. So running 2 combos is super consistent, because you're running the max of each climax, if that makes sense. Right? So then I come down to my level 1 game, and I realize, there's a problem here. I am drawing way too many climaxes, and I have no way to get rid of them. So, how do I fix it? Let's drop a useless card. I dropped one of these. So I looked at my level 1 game and decided, hey, let's run this. Technically a 4th assist. And reason being is because it first of all gives K to a middle, and also it has a pay 1, draw 1, ditch 1 effect. This is how I discovered this card, because it allowed me to discard climaxes I didn't need. It became very important to my strategy, because it set up my deck for its refresh, which happens a lot with that lovers. So this card became important to me. Next, what happened, I started realizing, oh hey, sometimes I have a lot of issues getting the proper experience into my deck to make cards like this effective and cards like this effective. So how do I fix that? Well, I searched through the set and I found 2 cards. One was a on-play clock, exchange a card in your level with a card in your waiting room, and one was a pay 1 on play. So I opted for the pay 1 on play. I dropped 1 copy of the Tsubasa, and I added in this Mei Oshino, and that's how that card came to be. Plus also it's a blue as opposed to a yellow like the other one, so it just fit my color better, and it's a fantastic card, which is why I still run it to this day. And at that point, I decided, I'm only running 1 copy of the Tsubasa. What is worth running at 1 in Bake, other than the cards I already picked? And I thought to myself, probably nothing. There wasn't much in Bake that was particularly amazing alone. So what I decided was to make this more effective, because while I really like this combo, and I did test it at 3 at one point, this is the moneymaker. This is getting out the Hitagi early game is the strategy. So I decided to make that very clear in my deck build and very evident to others, basically. So instead of the 1 Tsubasa, I opted for 4 Koyomi. So now I have 4 assists, which is perfectly fine. And that's how my ratios changed up. I'm still running 16 cards, and I'm still running pretty close to that basic minimum of 15, but it's just the consistency of the cards I wanted became a lot stronger. And so then I was looking around, and over time I realized something about this card. I like this card. It's a 1/1, it's big, all that. The problem with it was, like I said, my late game, and the way I like to play my late game, is really, really expensive. The change is expensive, the leveling and such is difficult, this change is expensive, it's hard. So I needed to make the deck more cost effective. So what did I do? I exchanged beaters. I took out my Nautico, and in exchange, put out this Itagi. This Itagi is great because it's red, so clearly it's gonna be consistent. And it's a 105k, which isn't terrible. It gets the assist from these guys, so it becomes a 6k, which is exactly what the Nautico was. And if I pay 1, I have the ability to, when this card reverses a card, put that reversed card on top of my opponent's deck. And it gains a K from that effect. So it becomes an even stronger beater in the event that I do need one, and I find it is worth the cost to do it. So that's why I opted for this card. And as you can see, this is how I came to my current Bake Monogatari build. Deck building, it's... The main thing that I want people to get from this video is not that you need to spend hours and hours sitting at your desk, looking at your cards and looking at your set and trying to figure out, which cards are better. No. You need to go to your locals. You need to play the game. Have fun. And then just, over time, think about your cards. Every once in a while, pull them out. Take a look at them. And think, what's wrong with this deck? What is slow in this deck? What is not working? What is a problem in this deck? And really just honestly decide, is my core working? If not, should I change my core? Should I think about how I play my deck and play it differently? Should I change certain cards? Are certain cards not working? It's just a matter of thinking about it passively, and then in the future, making your deck better. And it's a long process. The process is not done. I promise, 6 months from now, you will not be looking at the same build here. But that's good. That's the point of this game. You can always change your build and make your build better than it was. So I hope you all take that to heart, and next time you're sitting down at your locals playing a game and you are having trouble, you think about what the trouble really is instead of, I suck. So there you have it. I hope you all enjoyed the video. This was Weiss Schwarz Pauper signing out. Please rate, comment, and subscribe.